The Sherrone Moore saga continues. This time it is Anthony Simpson who came out on Twitter the other day with a very interesting announcement. Anthony Simpson started his career at Arizona for 2 seasons before transferring to UMass for another 2 years before eventually landing at Michigan this past season. On his career, he has had 68 catches for 910 yards and 3 touchdowns. His breakout year was in 2023 with UMass, where he had 57 catches, 792 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He only had one rush attempt in his career at Michigan. So what was this tweet that he posted the other day? He posted 2 videos. They are his targets versus non-targets in practice. And he said, "I was the best slot receiver for Michigan, and I was treated unfairly due to Sherrone Moore being blackmailed by players and staff members, which jeopardized my opportunity to get on the field. I was the fastest player on the team, and I won reps every day in practice. Our team captains also advocated for me to play. I was denied fairness." Anthony Simpson has since entered the transfer portal for his final season. So what could this mean? The same situation likely happened for Frederick Moore. Frederick Moore transferred after 3 games this year. He was a guy who last year was a rising star, a guy who had a breakout game in the Alabama ReliaQuest Bowl, and it was kind of assumed by Michigan fans and everybody around college football that was tuned into Michigan that Frederick Moore was going to be a starter and a breakout star this year. And then the season starts, and he's really only playing special teams. Seems interesting, doesn't it? And then Simpson comes out and says that Sherrone Moore was being blackmailed by these players and staff members. And this also explains why a certain wide receiver continued to play throughout the season despite his issues with drops and returning kicks. This receiver, Samage Morgan, must have had some kind of leverage on Sherrone Moore, because there's no real explanation why Samage Morgan would continue to be placed in the starting lineup unless he had something on Sherrone Moore, which it seems that he really did, because he left the program for the Ohio State game. He wasn't on the injury report, he wasn't hurt, but he sat out for the Ohio State game, and that was largely because Andrew Marsh was taking the kicking duties. Andrew Marsh was starting to take all of the wide receiver 1 duties. Samage Morgan was left out to dry. His blackmail stopped working, so he sat out. And ironically, Sherrone Moore's fired a few days later, and Samage Morgan's right back in the lineup for the Texas game. It seems that this web of lies, this malfunction that has been brewing at Michigan since Sherrone Moore's hire, is deeper than anybody really assumes. Everybody thought, oh, he had a relationship with a staff member, he got found out, he got fired. Seems logical. But now we see that he was blackmailed and that players seem to have known about his issues. Why did Ernest Hausman sit out for the Ohio State game? Why was he a consistent contributor to the team all the way through the season and then randomly decides to sit out for the biggest game of the year? Did he find out Sherrone Moore's secret? This is a lot deeper than people assume, and I honestly believe that this Sherrone Moore news will continue to come out as the year goes on. Obviously, it's nothing attached to Michigan anymore. Sherrone Moore is gone. All of the staff members that were involved in this blackmail are gone. If you see these wide receivers like Samage Morgan and Frederick Moore, you assume that some of the blackmail was maybe from Ron Bellamy, the wide receiver coach. He's gone now. And this also explains why so many players entered the transfer portal. Why would you want to play at Michigan while all you can see on the interior is malfunction? And then Kyle Whittingham comes in and he brings his coaches and they fix it up. And now all these players are retained. It's honestly shocking that this team won 9 games last year. Sherrone Moore couldn't coach. He didn't give Bryce Underwood a quarterback's coach. And he was sleeping with staff members while being actively blackmailed by his players and his coaching staff. It's shocking that this team was able to put it together for 9 wins. Could you go to your work and know that your boss is sleeping with one of your coworkers and you know about it and your friend over in the other cubicle knows about it and everybody knows about it and they're using it to the boss and they're saying, hey, we know about this. You have to give us a raise. How would you get any work done? Well, Michigan got 9 wins out of it. For that reason, with the malfunction flushed out, I think Michigan's going to be a playoff team next year. And I think they might make a deep run. That's all I got for today. Thanks for tuning in to The Bright Side.